Hi, and welcome to Thinking Thursday with me, Bronwyn Lucas, Miss B, licensed professional counselor, certified Christian counselor, life coach, and all around person who wants to help others. So here I am, ready for another Thinking Thursday, hoping that we have a good time and that we're ready to discuss something a little different. So I'll tell you at the outset, I plan for tonight to be a lighthearted topic, talking about communication and how, wow, just how we need to communicate. And I'm calling it the power of words. As I started working, it went from lighthearted to a little deeper, but we'll see how that goes. And we'll see just how questions may come up. But as always, we will start with some deep breathing. And for those of you who it's your first time, we start with deep breathing to allow you to clear your head, clear your mind, and be in a place to listen. It's a practice of something you can do not just on Thursdays, but anytime you find yourself a little stressed at work, at home, driving the car. Just take a few deep breaths. So, how do you do that? We're going to breathe in slowly through your nose and out through your mouth, and I'll do it to a count of four. And so let's practice it with me. Breathe in, two, three, four, out, two, three, four. Breathe in again, two, three, four, and out, two, three, four. One more for good measure. Breathe in, two, three, four, and out, two, three, four. Well, good evening. As I said, we will be talking about the power of words. Words are important, words are powerful, and we need to figure out what to do with them. They don't go away, they're part of our life. So, how do we manage words? And that's what we're going to talk about. How many of you remember the phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me? Well, we've heard that. And you know what? It's the biggest fallacy we've heard in years. I choose to say it a little differently. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will hurt. Words totally have the ability to hurt. And it's not a pretty thing. I bet you can think of something someone said to you years ago that when you think about it, it still stings. Or when you think about it and you think of that person, you're like, wow. Just listen to these words and see what impact they may have on you. Stupid, dumb, ugly, pretty, hate, useless, love. Really? Ugh. Awesome. Wonderful. You are so. Mm. Well, all of those words can have an impact. Now, as you've noticed, when I said them, the tone changed because our tone impacts what we say, how we see it, how we feel it. So I wanted to, before I even talk about words, I want to interject something about tone. When we think about tone, my mom used to always say, it's not what you say, baby, it's how you say it. So listen to these two words I'm going to say, and I'm going to say them twice. And I want you to think about if they have the same meaning, even though they are the same words. Listen to this. Number one, come here. Number two, come here. Do they have the same meaning to you? Same two words, but man, that tone. Usually, if you hear the first, come here, you're willing to walk up and say, "Oh, what do you want? What's going on?" But if somebody says to you, "Come here," you want to go the other way, or you're coming to them with an attitude. It is just not the same. So, words and tone have great power, and that is what we're going to talk about is the power of words. A lot of what we're talking about these days on Thinking Thursday is all in light of COVID because that's where we are. We are stuck in the COVID zone and we need to figure out what to do with it. So, since we are stuck in this zone, let's think about it for a moment and how your words can impact it. There are people who are home with their children and or a spouse or whole families at home, and by now everybody's getting on each other's nerves a little bit. You've been at home since March and you lose for the couple might have lost their date night. They don't have the ability to just go and get away from the kids and go out for a while. The kids don't have the opportunity to get away from the parents either. So it is just, you have family time, you love each other, but too much of a good thing is not a good thing. So you may say something and not really mean anything. It's how you're feeling in that moment. So, for instance, there are some phrases you can say and you mean one thing, but another message could be conveyed. For example, if you tell somebody, now that was just stupid, and you really mean that the action that they did was stupid, but you know what comes across? You were stupid. Not what you meant, but wow, or that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You know how that can be translated? Your idea was dumb. And if your idea is dumb, that means you're dumb. So our words are so important and they can't go back. You can never take back what has been said. You can say, I'm sorry. You can say, I didn't mean it. You can say, well, what I really meant was, but you know what? Those words are out there and you can't take them back. So when we are at home and we are, or even at work, let's say you're at work, you've gone back to work and things are going great. You enjoy it. I'm out of the house. I'm back interacting with people. But there was that coworker who always got on your nerves anyway. And they do say the most ridiculous thing. And so maybe you would say something like, oh, I thought you were working from home. I didn't know you were coming back. Again, that tone and those words allow them to think that, ooh, something's wrong. So our relationships are covered by the words we say. When you think about it, when I first started talking about the power of words, I did it with parents, helping parents understand how, and teachers, how important your words are, how it's important that you think before you speak, because as I said, you cannot take the words back. They are not going anywhere. So, how do we do that? So, one of the things is, the golden rule is do unto others the way you want them to do unto you. Well, speak to others the way you want to be spoken to. Would you like it if someone was constantly saying the things you say or do are stupid? After a while, you would interpret it as that's how they feel about you. Would you like it if everything you hear from someone is negative? No. There's some old phrases that we don't like to use anymore. They've fallen out of fashion, such as thank you, please, you're welcome. We don't say it as much. It used to be that was something we made sure our children said. Thank you, please, you're welcome. That was um, that was just something that we thought was important, and we wanted them to hear. We wanted them to say. But think about it. When and with parents, how often do you tell your children please and thank you? So often with parents, it's, oh, go get this, go do that, because after all, that's just a child and you're the parent. So you're telling them to do something, and we forget to say thank you. We forget to show them that what they say, what they do is important. You validate a person when you can tell them, "Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you did that for me." That validates them. Don't you like it when you're appreciated and valued? Um, but we think about how important our words are to each other as well. How about with your spouse, your partner, the person you're dating, the person you're with? After a while, do you begin to take them for granted? They know I love them. I don't need to say it all the time. She know. He know how I feel about him. We can have those, but isn't it important to hear it? We need to think about what we're saying. When we are in the house now, again, more though, in Texas where I am, the state opened up. Everybody's out. Now our numbers for COVID are going up and up and up. The state is deciding if it wants to close up, but people are coming to the realization I'm going to stay in my home. I'm going to stay in my space. I don't need to be out. More and more people, for as many people that are getting out, there are people that are staying in. And so for those that are staying in, you're back at home with either alone or with your family, your children, your spouse, your partner. And things will and can get a little tight. And as I said, you can start to sort of get on each other's nerves. And you know what? That's normal. Because if you think about it, it's been since March. If your children, no matter what age, from little kids to high schoolers, they were gone during the day. Maybe you were gone to work. You saw a different set of people during the day. You saw your family at night and you appreciated your family. Maybe you were the traditional family who ate dinner together because that was your time. And then everybody scattered. So you weren't around each other 24/7. And you had meaningful conversation because you didn't see each other a lot, and so you made good use of the time you had. Well, now I'm with you all the time. I don't want to have any more meaningful conversation. For some people, your living situation is such that um, you can spread out. Everybody has their own room. You can go your own way. But for some, it's not like that. It's a matter of we're all in here together, and it's 9 people living in a 3-bedroom house. So you really getting on each other's nerves. What do? Learn to respect each other's space. Learn to um, go from a point of view of, you know what, we're gonna have a safe zone right here. And when this is the safe corner. It's our own household's timeout. And when I'm feeling a little stressed, I need to go over here and whoever is in the safe zone, nobody can bother them. It's your way of saying I just need my space. Why is that important? Last week we talked about how depression can come in and being in this space, in this time and space where life is so different can really work on a person. It can mess with your head. I've talked to so many people how it's impacting them. So it's easier to be more frustrated. It's easier for people to get on that last nerve. And maybe you need that space. So if you're in a crowded house where you don't have everybody doesn't have their own room, everybody doesn't have their own space, find a safe space. And that's the house's safe space. And whoever needs to go to that safe space can go there. And they're not bothered. If you have a house where everyone has their own bedroom, everyone has adequate space, let it be known that okay, I'm going to my room, I'm closing the door because right now I need some space. And so whether it's your safe space in a corner, your own room, everyone respect that the other person needs space because it's them right now, it'll be you later on. So respect each other. How does that have to do with words? Well, when you're in that zone where everything is taking over and you're feeling uncomfortable, you're feeling fed up, anything can come out of your mouth. Think about it. When you're frustrated, You say something, and in that second, you mean it. 10 seconds later, when you hear what you said, ouch, I didn't really mean to say that. But what the other person can interpret is, but you were thinking it. You had to think it in order for it to come out of your mouth. So, yeah, it's important to you. That's what you meant to say. Ha! And those words, they're out there and they are not coming back. So, yeah, you have to be able to have that moment, have that time out. Um, One of the things also about words, another important issue about words is when you are in the zone and everything's a little crazy, use positivity. I'm real big on affirmations. I believe that every day you should tell yourself something good. And so, by way of commercial here, I'm going to give you my email address. If you're looking on Facebook, you'll see one. I made it simpler, a simpler one to do, and that is B Lucas, BLUCAS, LPC at gmail.com. Email me. I will send you a list of affirmations. Affirmations are simply positive statements that you read one a day. Tell yourself something good because in this time, maybe you need to hear a little something good. Again, that email address is blucaslpc at gmail.com. Or give me a call if you need to talk a little more. Life is getting stressful and you don't know what to do. You need to talk to a therapist. You can email that to me or you can call 682 272 3949. But using those positive affirmations is a way of telling yourself something good. If you're a parent, share it with your children or maybe the whole family. Everybody read one a day. And they're very simple. It might just be, I am wonderful, because sometimes you might need to be reminded, oh, I am wonderful. Or it might be, I will make today a good day. Or I choose to be happy, because sometimes it's a choice. Everything around you could be horrible. It could be one of those days where everything happens and you don't feel like being happy. But you make that choice that I am going to be in control of the situation, not the situation in control of me. And it is your words that can help change that. So stop, think before you react. Think about how you want to be treated. Think about how you want others to remember you. Because those words you use, they don't go anywhere. I told you when I started this, I was thinking of keeping it lighthearted, but as I thought about words, some more things came to mind. And I'm going to tell you some words or phrases that come to mind. Black Lives Matter. White Power. Some of the others. I have my rights. I can do what I need to do. These things come up. These words come up. These are words that people say, that we hear, and when you hear it, it invokes a lot of feelings. Now, and forgive me for my friend's name, Karen, but man, you hear about Karen, it comes up. And I hate that because I have some good friends named Karen. One I spoke with last night, but when you hear about, oh, it was another Karen incident, it invokes all of these thoughts. We don't know what to do with all these thoughts. How do we manage that? We hear it. Ooh, some people, when they hear Black Lives Matter, they have a sense of pride. It's like, we're going to make it work. Some people hear it, and they feel it's those radicals that are out to destroy the country. It's so many things just from words. I have someone asking, what about the N word? What do I think about the N word? Um, the N word, wow, it brings up a lot of thoughts for a lot of people. What do we do with that? Well, I wanted to look at it for a moment historically. Historically, using that word was meant to denigrate, was meant to cause you to feel bad. It had nothing good about it. So a couple of years ago, there were those who said, well, we're going to reappropriate that word. We're going to take it back, and it's going to be ours, and you can't use it. I can use it, and it has power. And a lot of that has to do with the two generations who look at that. And what I see is the two generations don't respect each other's thought about it. Now, I'm of the generation where I don't like the word. Don't like it. Don't use that to describe me. It doesn't work for me. I understand the mentality that if we appropriate it, it's ours and we can claim it and take the power. The problem is the same people who want to appropriate that word and have the power of it only want to be able to use it, and they're upset if someone else uses it. So have you really taken the power of that word? It has been a word that historically, in its origin, was not meant to be anything powerful. So I challenge us to think of words that could could be used to bring power to us, to celebrate who we are. That word doesn't generally celebrate. Even when you're appropriating it and taking it back so we feel good about it, it's not necessarily designed to give power. Another one is the B word. And now I'm not saying the words, either one, but you know what I mean. Calling women bees. The definition of that word is a female dog. So why should, as a woman, would I want to be called a dog? Why, as a man, do I want my woman to be a dog? It is not anything, again, it's generational. But so we look at it this way. I saw a young couple once walking in a store, and they had on two shirts. His had an arrow, his had on it, and it was dis, D-I-S, dis my bee, and hers had I'm his bee, and they both had a hand with a finger, pointing each other as they walked lovingly through the mall. I saw nothing positive about that. Maybe if it was this is my queen and this is my king, even this is my woman, this is my man, this is my boo. There's so many positive words we could use to describe women. As black women, we have enough to face. We have enough issues that we have to deal with. When we think about the words we use, man, can we not use positive words to describe ourselves? Why is it that these are the words that we're choosing to say who we are? Is there something? I don't know. Those of you who may be on, I'm working to see what are some words that are key words for you that jump off that are either make you feel good or make you feel bad. If you're on with Facebook right now, throw some words out. Throw some words out right now. I'll throw another phrase is, it's my right. I have my rights. Why should your rights trump my rights? Your rights overrule mine. For instance, with face masks, people who don't want to wear a face mask will say it is their right not to wear one. But it is also my right not to have to be infected because you are doing things that are proven to be unsafe. So, yeah, where do rights end and rights begin? I don't know. But man, we've got to figure that out. So rights, that's a button pusher with me. What are some others? I'm trying to look on the Facebook and see. But let me see if I can see if you're putting any words in there. But I don't know. Think of some words. I'm not able to see the comments, and I don't know why or what's going on with it. So I'll try to think of some more I've heard. I know those rights are a big one. Looking at, managing your rights versus mine, your feelings versus my feelings. If you're typing them in, I'm sorry, I can't see it. Don't know why. But my whole point is this. Words are our way of communicating. Words tell us what words are designed to tell us, what's going on. But our words can be misconstrued, our words can be confused, our words can get lost. Our words can do some of everything but except for what we want. So, what do we need to do? I'm looking to see if I can get. Oh, wow. There have been comments. I'm trying to see if I can make them work. Oh, here is another comment. Somebody saying, "You people." Oh, Lord. That for me too is a button pusher. What do you mean by you people? Because typically when someone says you people, it's lumping everybody into a group. And whether that's your group or not, you don't want that lump. And it's rarely, very rarely meant to be anything positive. You people do this because you people assumes that whoever you are, whatever negative thought they have, they're lumping you with somebody, and you all are that characteristic. Because frankly, no one is all. Maybe I'm the exception to the rule, or you're a good one. You're not like the others, or oh yeah, we call it the H word. It really begins with a W. This my B or this is my H, and it's okay. Those are the things that we're hearing that do they lift up? Why do we have to use our words in any way to bring down? Using our words to constantly lift up, build up, edify. I didn't say earlier what I wanted to mention that, there is a verse in the Bible that says, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue." Your mere words can bring life or death. And you know what? It can be physical death. We think of it as just the emotional part, but what happens is with those words, when you think of bullying, cyberbullying, and things like that, where people have killed themselves because what others said to them. Your words are just that powerful. A lot of our words and negative things we hear are tied into racism and old stereotypes, such as the N word. Another one is for women, and this you're going to find it impacting really older black women, being called a gal. Gal was used as a defensive, a negative term during slavery time, during Jim Crow, even during the 50s. It was just something else. And we get into, there's some others I see that are generational. Some people older don't get it. When you say, "That's my dog," they think it sounds negative. I kind of get it. It is one that's been appropriated. My dog is not necessarily anything, as it's a term of endearment. But again, when we look at different generations, what's a term of endearment for one is a term of insult for another. So being called my dog or my N or my B or that H, man, they feel negative. And what one generation doesn't understand is, how are you appropriating anything negative? Can you change it to uplift and build and say something that is positive and something that is not confusing? So even my dog, you my dog, can be confusing to some. As something might sound negative. You my N. And we change the way they say it. It doesn't end in ER, it ends in AH. Therefore, it's a whole different word. It has a whole different meaning. No, not really. Not for some. So words are powerful, words have meaning, and what one person sees, the other doesn't. And that's why communication is so important. And we think about it. We think about what we're saying, we think about what we're doing, we think about how we're reacting. Because words, we will react, and we will react strongly to when we hear those words. Because I'll admit, if the B word is used toward me, I will have a reaction. I will. My reaction might not be real good, especially depending on who's saying it, but I will react if that is something that is said to me. So our words are going to generate a whole lot of reactions, and we have to be ready to understand that that's how it's going to be. we are going to react because we're hearing these words. So think about your words. I want you to think right now of a positive word that you would like to say to someone, a positive word you'd like to say to yourself. If you are watching live and you're on Facebook, type in that positive word. A positive word you could say to someone. A positive word you could say to yourself that will empower you, that will make you feel good. Now, as I said, I don't know why, what I did. I'm not seeing the comments, but others can see them. I can periodically kind of, it'll pop up, not quite sure. But end it with something positive. We need to be able to, we need to be able to think of it. Because someone says, does the word have, do the words have the power, or do we give words power? And it's a little of both. A word, right, in and of itself, a word's just sitting there. Does it have any power? But when we say it, we give it power. We give it meaning. And remember, I talked earlier even about the tone, not just what you say, but how you say it is where that power comes from. So some words are just like, you my dog. Does that have a lot? Does the word dog have a lot of power? Just the word no, power by its dog by itself, no, not necessarily. But man, when you put it in that phrase, it has power. And for some, it's a term of endearment. That's the power that is being held by it. For others, it's don't use that word with me. So yes, the power that words have come by how they're said, who says it, who they say it to. Back to earlier when I was talking just about communication in your home. When parents constantly tell their children that was the most stupid thing you could ever do. Well, after a while, all I hear is you calling me stupid. Really, you couldn't figure that out? Those words, really, you couldn't figure it out. Could mean one thing. You add that tone, man, the power is changed. So, yes, the word in and of itself may not have power. How you say it, who you say it to, and what you're saying it are going to give it that power. And that power, once it's out there, can't go back. If I've said for the third time to my child, really? Come on now, hurry up. That's just, ooh, come on. If I'm saying all that after a while, I can't take her back. I can go back and say, baby, mama was just tired. I didn't mean that. Well, you already said it. And if you do it enough, I'm like, that's how you really feel. So, yeah, power, words have power. We give words power. Oh, here's some positive words coming. Phenomenal. Now, if Maya Angelou has a poem, Phenomenal Woman. Some of you may be familiar. So if you hear the word phenomenal, how are you going to feel? You're going to feel phenomenal. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel like, yeah, I like that. I like being told I'm phenomenal. What about awesome? You're going to love it. Extraordinary. I am an extraordinary person. Just saying these words, I'm feeling good about me. Because, yeah, we also don't tell ourselves enough positive. That's why I say if you email me at blucaslpc@gmail.com, I will send you a list of 30 affirmations. And the way I say you use them, whatever day you start, they're numbered 1 to 31. So you have enough for one for every day of the week. So if you emailed me tomorrow, you won't get it to Saturday because give me a day, give me a 24-hour turnaround, and you are going to get it. And you read it every day. You start with whatever number that is and you go there. Another one I see is wonderfully made. You are right. God made you. You are wonderfully made. You are awesome. There is nothing wrong with you. Now, sometimes you will not feel that way. Life will happen. Stuff will happen. Another S word you can think of, since we're talking about words, will happen. And you won't feel wonderfully made. You won't feel extraordinary. But when you begin to tell yourself that this is how I'm feeling on this day, but it's not permanent, this is just this day. This is not who I am. And you hold on to this is not who you are. This is just what's going on that day. And we're having a bad day. We're having a not empowering day. But you move on from that day that's not empowering and you just go with it. Um, let's see if I can get one more. I see there are lots of comments. Um, and I'm going to figure out what I did wrong this week where I'm not seeing my comments regularly. But I want you to think about it. I wanted tonight to be not as heavy, but to make you think. So when you hear and when you say terms, take a moment to think. We talked about white power. Yeah, that's a button pusher. We talked about Black Lives Matter. That is an equal button pusher for some others. So when you're using these terms, when you're hearing these terms, and they invoke all these feelings, be willing to have those discussions about what it means to you and be willing to have those discussions and what it means to you so that you know what you want to say and you can say it with all the passion and feelings and emotions you have, but you want to use your words so that you can be heard. So that you're not saying what you did, you're not giving the message that you're stupid, you're giving the message that what you did wasn't the best thing to do. So make sure that your words let people hear what you're saying. My sister's favorite word is supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Just that's for all us old heads. Came from the movie Mary Poppins. And you got to be kind of, she's telling her age on that one. Me too, because I know it. So you have to be old enough to know just supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Just something fun and silly. So my final thoughts are when it comes to your words, sometimes you need to stop. You need to stop and breathe before you speak. You need to stop and think before you react. You need to stop and consider the consequences of your words. And finally, you need to stop and think, how am I going to say it? And how would I feel if I were the recipient of these words? So before I sign off, I want to thank you for joining us for the third podcast of Thinking Thursday with Miss B. It will remain on my Facebook page. You can share those who don't have Facebook. Let them hear it. They can go to, by Sunday, it will be on your podcast channels such as Spotify or Apple Podcasts, and it will be on YouTube. So you can listen. Think about the words you say and share something positive with somebody because there's a lot of negative going on. So signing off, always reminding you that mental health is health. See you next week.